Now, the ANC top brass is today expected to respond to Ace Magashule's legal action. The Secretary-General has taken the party to court to have his suspension declared unlawful, unconstitutional and invalid. Now, Magashule faces a raft of charges, this including corruption, fraud and racketeering. Well, the matter relates to a 250 million rand Free State asbestos eradication tender. Legal expert Nthabiseng Dubazana speaks to us now, and she joins us rather via phone. Nthabiseng, good morning to you, and thank you so much for your time this morning. Let's start with the Ace Magashule issue and talk about your perception, which you believe quite clearly that no one is above the law, be it any individual, even a political party, when it comes to legal processes.
Yes. So Ace is entitled, from where I'm standing, to take the ANC to the court. Remember, like you just said, no one is above the law. So he has claimed that he's tried all the internal processes that he's supposed to follow in order to challenge the suspension that was granted or given to him as a result of the set-aside situation. So now that he says that he was not granted any ground or any space to speak internally, then his next best bet is to take the matter into court. So now the challenge is, of course, that the set-aside is unconstitutional and it violates his right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty. Of course, from where, on a legal standpoint, even if you are in a employment situation, let's take it at labor court for labor situations.
Right.
If you're found to have been doing some kind of misconduct or dishonesty, there's an investigation that happens, and then there's a disciplinary hearing that happens as a result of that investigation, and only then would you be dismissed or be given a written warning or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. With that being said, Nthabiseng, I have to jump in there. What do you think, or rather, my question is, what sort of clarity do you think this will bring, not only to the ANC and some of the different factions, obviously, that believe one thing while the other believe the next. But what clarity do you think this will also bring, to the nation?
I think that's what I was trying to get to, that once this thing is produced or proclaimed by the court that it should be done the way the ANC wants it to be done, it will map out a clear way what the intention is of the ANC when it deals with step aside. Are you saying that you don't have to be found guilty in any manner or form as long as you are accused of something is sufficient, then you have to step aside? Or will the court say that it is not right for you to just say because a person has been accused, then they should step aside, you should follow internal processes or at least abide by some kind of law, at minimum the constitutional right to be presumed innocent. Right. So I think it will be interesting to see which way the court will decide, and if it's going to be on the side of the ANC, I think it will be a little bit dangerous, because now you're saying that people can be found guilty, so to speak, without any evidence produced or adduced as yet, because as we speak, Ace Magashule hasn't been found guilty of anything. He's only been charged or accused so far.
All right. Let's also talk about then what this process could mean for some of the decisions that the NEC might have wanted to take, of course, regarding Ace Magashule in this particular issue, because I'm sure you would understand that sometimes it may be shunned down upon when a member of a political party, especially a senior member at that, takes the legal route, the court route, in dealing with party issues, when perhaps they believe, as the ANC, that some of these issues could be dealt with internally, and he was supposed to be more of an obedient member of the ANC and wait for those internal, decisions to be made.
But like he said, he has been denied the opportunity to try and deal with this internally. So the best bet that he felt was that he should go back or go to the courts for assistance. So I think in terms of the internal structure of the ANC, yes, if a person who is in that position that he holds in the ANC, perhaps they should have found another way as the NEC to deal with it. However, he is claiming that he was not given that opportunity. So now what other choice would he have to do to deal with the situation that he's facing? I think at where he's standing right now, at least where I would presume, is that he feels his hands are tied because you're not giving me the platform to speak. So let me find somebody who will listen to me and make you listen at the same time.
Right. With that being said, I want to move slightly to a different topic, but also still within, affecting rather one of the ANC's members, former President Jacob Zuma. Today we're expecting him, of course, to sit at trial. We know that he's been going through a lot of legal issues in terms of some of his legal representatives, obviously withdrawing from representing him. What do you think will take place today? How do you think some of the events that have panned out, even with, some reports coming in that Thabani Masuku might be his new legal rep, how do you think those events leading today will affect the sitting today?
Well, if he presents himself in court today without legal representation, it is almost guaranteed that the matter will be postponed for him to acquire legal representation. But if Mr. Masuku is going to be present, the matter might still be postponed in any event for him to familiarize himself with the matter, to consult with his client and be ready for trial. So I don't think the matter will proceed in its entirety today. It will be a matter of deciding on the legal representation of Nthabiseng before the matter can proceed. Whether or not there's a person present for him today or not, that matter still has to be adjudicated. And if Masuku is there, I'm sure he's going to. I would request a postponement in order for me to consult with my client and be ready for the trial on the next occasion.
Right, because the assumption would that be you also would need time to study the case, especially if you're now taking over such a big case. Now, also with that being said, Nthabiseng, before I let you go, we know that reports are also coming in that should Thabani Masuku then obviously represent the former president, he might obviously start with applying for recusal against Billy Downer. I mean, with that being said, how do you think, should this recusal application take place, how do you think it would likely plan out? Because he's been accused of being biased against the former president.
Well, I think he would have to go back to the recordings, so transcripts and everything, and be sure that when he applies for the recusal, he has a basis for all of this. So he has to prove that the bias was obvious throughout the proceedings up until this point. And then if it can be shown that the bias is real, then he'll make that application. And then it will be up to the presiding officer to say, well, from what you're saying, I still don't feel like I was being biased, so therefore I'm dismissing your recusal. And if he dismisses the recusal, which is most likely he will, then they have the right to appeal that decision. So we are seeing this matter taking on another different route, and it might take even longer than what it is right now. So because they will be appealing the decision that he's refusing to recuse himself from the matter, and they feel strongly that he's being biased, being very biased against Nthabiseng. So it might just take a left turn, and now we're dealing with recusal more than the trial itself. So we'll have to see how that pans out.